calm down a little bit, then we could be in for a good match.
30 love.
That wasn't bad.
Rafter on the way to a possible love service game against Agassi. This is not an urban Australian from Melbourne or Sydney. He's from a place called Sunshine Coast, kind of a quiet mining outback community. We mentioned that his mother flew all night from down under in company with his sister. They are somewhere in the grandstand on center court. Brilliant backhand down the line, and Rafter has a love service game under his belt.
A nice way to start here, because this is a tough shot from Andre Agassi. Gets him out wide here. Look at that backhand, little short swing, reminiscent of Ken Rosewall there. Short backswing and just punched it down the line. He'll be pleased to get that game over with. That was a good start for him.
And now here comes the revamped Agassi serve in the wake of the wrist injury which bedeviled him for 3 months leading into the tournament. No full backswing, just up and pop. How much velocity do you think he sacrifices with that motion, John?
I don't think he does, actually. I mean, he serves a lot more aces in the first match. I think what he sacrifices is the rhythm.
Love 15.
Good approach shot here from Rafter. Nice volley. I spoke to his coach before the match, Bob Carmichael, and he said he's going to be coming into the net on every opportunity he can here.
Well, of course, the danger of that, John, is that he'll be coming to net against maybe the most effective passing shot artist in the sport.
Well, that's very true, but he has no chance of beating Andre Agassi from the back. The only chance he has, there is Bob Carmichael, and the glass is there. And he's told him to be aggressive, come in all the time, make Andre Agassi pass you at every chance.
Out. 30-15.
They're the sort of rallies he does not want to get involved in, those long rallies.
Game Agassi.
A service ace for Agassi to punctuate his second service game. So they're level on serve in the first set. 2-1 Agassi in the first. Here are Barry McKay and Billie Jean King.
All right, Jim. Well, after nearly 7 hours of live coverage yesterday, it's great to see Billie Jean out here.
Oh, I'm tired, but what a great match with Bailey and Ivan Isevich last night.
Sure was. Fantastic tennis on that center court. Well, we've got matches all over the place out here today. First of all, on court number 2, the #1 seed, Pete Sampras, going against Byron Black from Zimbabwe. Pete came in here with a little suspect shoulder, Billy. How's he feeling?
Well, this morning, over on court 12, just out here where we are, I watched him practice for about 20 minutes, and I talked to Tim Gullickson, his coach. He played some points against Christo van Rensburg, and Sampras looks 100%.
All right, another match on court number 1, 3-time champion Boris Becker going against Jakob Lasik. Lasik has a lot to prove. Marc Rosset, his teammate from Switzerland, is now a very popular player, having won the Olympics about a year ago. And so he's got a big incentive out there today, Billy. Can Becker keep playing like he's been playing?
Becker is playing great. In fact, he says he feels like he's 18 years old again, and he's in it. So watch out, everyone. Becker's back.
All right, we'll be all over these outer courts today, Jim. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Barry and Billie Jean. An overhead shot of court 1 and center court. Court 1 in the near foreground and center court beyond it there, as we get ready to go back down to center court and rejoin the match. And you see Nick Bollettieri and Patrick Agassi in the back row of the players' box as they watch their charge, leading 2-1, level on serve. I should say Philip Agassi, not Patrick Agassi. Patrick is Rafter, the opponent, at the opposite end of the court.
Long.
Good serve there from Patrick Rafter. It's not an overpowering serve, but it's very solid and gets in very quick behind the first volley. That's his strength, that first volley, particularly on the backhand side. See, he's there, he's just altering his ball toss a little bit. The sun's a little bit in a difficult position for him right now.
Long.
Can't volley much better than that. That's 2 great backhand volleys in the first 2 points. He looks pretty confident.
That's the first point that Rafter has lost on serve. Tabloids have had a field day in the past 2 days with Agassi's hairless chest and his lighthearted comment about wanting to be more aerodynamic on the court.
Yeah. He comes up with some lovely quotes, he really does.
Two volley arrows in a row.
Well, the last one, the one at 30 love, was a bad volley. That last one, though, was created by Andre Agassi's great backhand return. I mean, that was just a lot of pressure on him there, and this is going to be the problem, to see if he can get enough first serves in and get that volley away from Agassi's second shot.
So a sudden stumbling block for Rafter, the loss of 3 consecutive points, and the first breakpoint opportunity of the match for Agassi. Rafter a little bit angry at himself.
That's just too good. I mean, that was a heck of a first serve here. Right down the middle. Look at that forehand. Short backswing, comes back so fast right at you. He had no chance to react at all to that.
Other players talk about Agassi's incredible ability to see the ball coming off the racket earlier than any other player.
Yeah, the only one I can think of that's done that in the last 10 years is obviously the great Jimmy Connors. They're the 2 best returners, in my opinion, in the last 10 years. All-round game there from Patrick Rafter. Look at this, a little drop shot, brings Andre Agassi in, anticipates it wide, and then pushes the volley into the open court. That last shot, that drop shot, incidentally, was Bob Carmichael, who's Patrick Rafter's coach. That was his favorite shot, so I think he taught his pupil a few lessons there.
Well, it was interesting. As you thought the point, you could almost hear Rafter's mind thinking, I must find an escape from the baseline somewhere, and the drop shot was the exit.
Good recovery there from Agassi. Got up well for that high backhand volley.
15.
You're dead right there, though, Jim. I mean, at the moment, Rafter is not getting any short balls to come in. Agassi's keeping him so deep that he has no chance to really get in and play his favorite shot, which is the volley.
But if, in fact, Carmichael has schooled him in the drop shot, we may see more of it. Rafter thought the ball was out.
Here he comes with his forehand, winds up, cross court. Oh, that looked out to me.
(30-15) instead of 15-30.
Very close there. Andre said, goodness. Nice little English expression there. Should have said, goodness gracious.
Chair umpire is Ted Watts, an Englishman from Kent.
Nice shot there. Took advantage of a little bit of a short second serve.
30.
A graciously short second serve.
Yes.
Because goodness is always gracious, isn't it?
That's right.
40-30. Game Agassi.
So Agassi holds serve, and after the service break, Andre now holds a 4-1 advantage in the first set.
% serve, that's not too bad. But the unforced errors here, 6 to Patrick Rafter, only 2 to Andre Agassi. That's the winning side there, right there. 1 service break from Andre Agassi.
Facilitated by a couple of volley errors on the part of Patrick Rafter, and then the one great Agassi service return off the forehand. Just to go back to the hairless chest story, if you follow the London tabloid gossip, the latest on Andre Agassi's supposed significant other, singer Barbra Streisand, is that she is reportedly using Agassi's private jet, is in Greece, but is expected to be back here before the tournament is over if Andre continues to win. It is also rumored in the tabloids here that Barbara doesn't like hairy men, and therefore Andre's preference for aerodynamic sleekness as opposed to his former growth. You can get that in the Daily Mail, John.
I buy it every day.
35p.
Well, it cost me $2.50 in the States.
Love 50.
Production assistant Jonathan Schwartz points out succinctly, Zen masters aren't hairy. I didn't know that. Now Rafter in a little bit of a hole to begin his third service game.
15 all.
He didn't like that last return, really. He had a pretty good chance on that one and snatched it, pushed it straight in the bottom of the net. That was not a very good error for Agassi.
Thirty, 15.
There he served right into the Andre Agassi pocket there, straight into his backhand side. Agassi didn't even have to move. He just took a nice little short swing and connected beautifully on it. Good. Here he sets up the point with a great return to serve there. Rafter did well to get that volley back, but Agassi has plenty of time to push it into the open court.
And another break point for Andre Agassi. Chance to go up 2 service breaks in what is becoming a lopsided first set.
Deuce.
Any possible way, John, for Patrick Rafter to avoid at least a small helping of center court jitters, or is that inevitable?
Well, it's very tough. I mean, this will be his dream day here, going out on the court to play at the center court. That's what he's thought about since he first picked up a tennis racket. It's tough to go out there. You either play great or you just let those nerves worry you, but he should get over this pretty soon.
Advantage Rafter.
And that'll help.
When you play against someone with the best return to serve, like Andre Agassi, you have to alter the serve around. At the moment, he hasn't done that. You've got to jam in one serve, throw in a slower ball, out to the forehand, into the backhand. You've got to not let him have any rhythm whatsoever. Well, this was a very fine serve. Jammed him, but then played the wrong shot selection there. Didn't hit a very good drop volley, and Agassi picked it up easily and hit it cross court. Agassi looked very sharp, though, today. Much sharper than he did in the first 2 matches. At the beginning, anyway.
Does he look thinner? I think he does. His face, his cheeks are not nearly as puffy and round as was the case on Monday afternoon.
Advantage.
Andre contends that part of what made him look so corpulent coming into the tournament was a puffiness that is associated as a side effect with cortisone shots.
Well, I'm not sure if I quite believe that, to tell you the truth. I mean, that may be marginally, but if you train the right way and run and you watch your diet, you shouldn't come into a major tournament this heavy, in my opinion.
Is it easy to talk yourself out of playing your game?
Well, you try too much. That's the point. You just force and force because you know that if you don't hit your best serve, you know the ball's going to come at you at 1,000 miles an hour, and so consequently you try too hard and you force, and then the errors start creeping in.
Advantage Agassi.
He said, this is unbelievable. He hasn't settled down yet and making a few too many sloppy errors. It's just...
Well, he's obviously pressing. I mean, I think you hit the nail perfectly on the head here, John, and there are net points won, and you can see the dramatic contrast in styles of play.
Yeah, 10 of 20, though, is not good for Patrick Rafter.
Deuce.
Rafter fights off a break point again.
Yeah, that was.
How did he get the ball down?
Yeah, good return to serve, a little bit high, but look at this movement here. Flicks it, but Rafter thought that ball was going out.
Rafter may not have seen a player with Agassi's topspin in a situation like that.
No, that was an incredible shot.
Third breakpoint opportunity of this particular game for Andre Agassi.
Game Agassi.
So Andre gets another service break and moves to within one game now of closing out the set against Patrick Rafter.
Agassi leads 5-1 first set.
After the first round, John, Agassi said that he had been training very hard prior to Wimbledon. Seemed he was a little defensive at that time. After the second round match, he admitted that he has, quote, a strong craving for things that probably aren't as good for me as they should be, unquote. The implication there is hamburgers.
Probably a few donuts, too, I would say.
We're also told that he is an aficionado of Taco Bell, where they are available in Europe. Nearer competition time, he says that he has more carbohydrates and less fats, which virtually every athlete would try to do.
Rafter.
Rare double fault for Andre. And he digs himself a small hole at 5-1, perhaps having already put the first set mentally into his back pocket.
15.
Oh, look at that stat, 100% on Andre Agassi's points won on his first serve. That's incredible.
So the meaning of that, just in case you have not been watching earlier this week, is that when Andre gets the first serve in, he has won every point.
30.
Another unforced error for Rafter, who has already been talking to himself about them. And now racket change for Rafter. You suspect a broken string?
Yes, I think he broke his string there. He just, that last return to serve. That's the chip and charge routine that I think we're going to see a lot more of. Every time he gets a second serve, I think he's going to try and hit that little chip and charge and make Agassi pass him.
Opportunity for Rafter. Ace for Agassi.
Advantage Agassi.
Believe it or not, with the abbreviated service motion, And to underline your point about not losing velocity, John, Agassi ranks 7th among all the male players in the tournament in velocity of first serve.
First serve.
Has been clocked at 118 miles per hour, behind only Gullner, Stich, Ivanisevic, Becker, Sampras, and Simmerink.
Game, first set, Agassi.
Rafter serving. And another break point for Andre Agassi.
First serve.
Well, the last thing in the world you need after losing the first set 6-1 is to be broken in the first game of the second set.
Yes, he's getting a little bit nervous now. He's thinking, what the heck do I do here to hold on to this match? This is running away too quick.
Deuce. Advantage Rafter.
It's a good serve, that one. He jammed Agassi right into his body there. He had no chance to get set and hit a good return.
Game Rafter.
So Rafter avoids and averts
First
the
game,
service
second
break
set.
possibility and holds his serve in the first game of the second set. Agassi up 1-0 at 6-1, and we'll take a look at a statistical serve game comparison, John Lloyd.
Yeah, here we have 47% Rafter and 54%. That's way too low for Rafter, way too low. But look at that there. 100% points won from Andre Agassi on his first serve. 100%. Only 36% on his second serve. Service games lost 2 for Rafter and 0 for Andre Agassi.
So there's a chance, it would appear, that Rafter could gain a foothold in the set at least if Agassi ceases to get his first serve in. But as long as Andre's getting his first serve in, he's likely to control matters.
Yeah, when he gets that second serve, that's the chance for him to get into the net, and that's where he needs to be to have any chance to win this match.
Time.
And on the other hand, Rafter must raise the level of his own game by getting his first serve in more frequently. Here quickly a biographical sketch of Patrick Rafter. He's from the town of Sunshine Coast in Queensland, ATP rank 178, never won a tournament, hadn't won a match in 1993 before entering the qualifying here at Wimbledon. Won 3 matches in qualifying to get into the main draw, 2 matches against lesser-known players to make it into this third round.
Love 15.
John, you grew up here in this area, did you not?
Well, I lived about an hour from here, yes.
Does it ever rain in England?
I'm in total shock about this weather. It's amazing.
$15. $30-15.
Good first serve again by Andre Agassi. If the weather holds like this and we keep getting 2 or 3 more days of sunshine, by next week these courts are going to be lightning fast. One thinks then of Goran Ivanisevic and what his serve will do. Could be frightening.
40-15.
That's right, because players attempting to return serve against Ivanisevic will be getting more and more bad and unpredictable bounces, which will only compound the problem.
And the serves will be coming faster and faster right at them.
So can Gorin win the tournament, even as erratic as he has been?
After last night's match, you know, who knows what he can do? He's just so unpredictable. He's an amazing player.
40-30.
Good play that. Came in on the second serve, straight down the middle. Didn't give Agassi any angle to hit the passing shot. That was smart play.
Game Agassi.
Another service ace to close out the game, and Agassi remains level on serve in set number 2 with Patrick Rafter. Agassi took the first set 6-1. Andre Agassi missed the Australian Open this year with bronchitis, missed the French Open with tendonitis in his right wrist. So this is his first Grand Slam appearance of 1993. The only grass court match Agassi had played this year coming into Wimbledon was 2 weeks ago against Karl-Uwe Stibb of West Germany in Halle, Germany, and he lost it 5-7, 6-2, 6-1. No longer West Germany, it's all just Germany now, of course.
Great touch there.
15-1.
Said at the top of the match that Rafter is regarded by Australian tennis authorities as their top young prospect, and you can see that he does have some nice elements in his game.
He plays a good all-round game, but I don't know if he's really powerful enough to really make it into the top regions of the game. He doesn't have one big weapon.
$30.
It's almost a cliche for us to be saying, John, as we have year after year here, that because such and such a person is Australian, therefore he's a grass court player. Great return by Agassi. As grass courts have disappeared gradually elsewhere around the world, have they maintained some of them in Australia?
Well, not many. No, there's not too many left now. But these guys, as with Patrick Rafter, they would have played when they were young kids on the grass. And the other thing is their coaches were all grew up on grass, so they would have taught them how to really play well on the surface.
30.
It's a little bit similar to English players. There's not many grass courts left now, but when these boys like Chris Bailey, as we saw yesterday, when they were 12, 13, 14, there was still a lot of grass courts around, so they knew how to play on it. And plus their coaches all grew up, and so they taught them the way to play, the skills for grass court tennis.
And those skills are mental as well as physical.
That's right.
That one, Rafter's heart was going to skip a beat.
Oh, that was a wonderful point. Look at that. Look how he got back for that. Agassi chased that down very well. Good speed there into the open court. He keeps on going for it. He went for it just a yard short there.
5, please. Thank you. Advantage Agassi.
Patrick Rafter had a love service game in game 2 of the first set. First time he had a chance to serve. Got to 40 love in his next service game, and since then has struggled every single time to hold serve.
Yeah, his serve, there's not enough variation on it, and he's not the power. There's not enough to really hurt Agassi today.
So the implication is that it took about 7 looks for Andre to dial in on Rafter's serve.
Yeah, he really worked it out very quick. He was much sharper early on today than he has been in his other matches.
Deuce.
Pretty good second serve there.
First serve.
It'll be hard to look at a let serve on center court for a few days without thinking of Goran Ivanisevic's second serve let last night that preceded the dramatic second serve ace to rescue him from match point against Chris Bailey.
Advantage
Really
Rafter.
one of the unlikeliest moments ever in a big-time tennis match.
Well, I just saw Bob Brett in the locker room, Goran Ivanisevic's coach, and I said, I cannot believe he hit that second serve on that point and it hit the top of the net and bounced 1 inch in. And he just said, oh, that's regulation for Goran. No problem at all.
Game Rafter.
So Patrick Rafter struggles, but eventually is able to hold serve, and we once again will show you the service comparison between Andre Agassi last year and this year.
Well, here he starts off here. Nice movement, long backswing there. Good rhythm, gets up on the ball, good knee bend, reaches up, and there's the famous shirt flying up there. Good serve.
Nice firm belly, too.
Yes.
Now here, everything different.
Yeah, he just starts off. The racket goes in the same position as the first one, but without the long swing. Good knee bend. And there's the shirt flying up again.
And let's see how he has done on his first serve with his selections into the ad court.
Well, you can see here he's gone 89% first serves into Rafter's forehand, which is his weaker wing. And when he serves there, he wins 100% of the points. He's been coached well because Rafter's forehand is much, much weaker than his backhand.
And would that scouting report have come from someone in the Agassi camp who had watched Rafter earlier in the tournament, or from word of mouth,
please,
or just something that Andre has discovered early on in the course of the match?
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything, but Nick Bollettieri, Andre Agassi's coach, should have been out watching Rafter's singles matches and would have come back with that tactic.
Love 15.
Andre's had a few double faults today. And just to reiterate the statistic we offered at the end of the first set, using this abbreviated service motion, Agassi is the 7th hardest server in the men's draw.
Well, here he comes here on this second serve, comes in the net, but that was way too short. He was lucky he wasn't put in hospital with that shot. That was a suicide approach shot.
Rafter pinned to the baseline again.
Can't get in at the moment. That's just a very fine point there. He kept him deep all the time. And then he sets up with the forehand wide, gets Rafter out of position. And then he comes in and puts away the high backhand volley. His depth today with his ground strokes is excellent.
Against Bernd Karbacher and Joao Cunha Silva, Agassi had his shirt tail tucked in.
40-50.
Today, for the first time in the tournament, he plays with the shirt tail flying in characteristic Agassi style. Well, Andre can't believe the line call on that one. But it stands, and it's 40-30.
Game Agassi. Two games all, second set.
At this point, look at the way he sets up with his backhand here. Big gap there left by Rafter. And Agassi just threads it through.
Well, Rafter hadn't done much with the shot before. You can't just leave Agassi alone to whack away at it from the baseline.
That was a lovely backhand volley there. Stayed very, very low on the ball, punched it out firmly wide, made Agassi move. Agassi really returning well today, pressurizing him all the time. Preparation, whack straight down the middle.
$30-50.
Good angle on that serve.
Does Agassi, in fact, John Lloyd, hit his ground strokes harder than other players?
I think he hits the ball the hardest off the return of serve than anybody else in the game.
Even Courier.
Even Courier.
Good job of getting to net by Rafter there.
40-50.
It's a good return of serve again, but very good recovery on that volley. Great depth.
40-30.
Patrick Rafter, one of 9 Rafter brothers and sisters from Sunshine Coast, Australia. And we are told that all 6 brothers play tennis.
Game Rafter.
So you might say, John, that the Rafters in Sunshine Coast are jammed with tennis players.
Love 15.
Entree just missing. Becker and Krychek, or Checkett, Agassi and Krychek, I should say, have played once this year, and Krychek won the match. It was on a hard court, not on grass.
Great hands.
Confidence builder for Rafter as he wins the volley battle.
Here comes the drop shot again. Not too good, actually. A little bit too high. But look at his reactions there. Look at his hands as he picks this one up there and flicks it out. Great point. He's back in this match now, Rafter. At one stage, I thought he was going to get blown off, but he's really come in and hung in there, not been intimidated, and he's back in this match now.
Love 30. Big opportunity now for Patrick Rafter, particularly if he can win this point. And now it's 15-30. Agassi uses the effective first serve to bail himself out from Love 30.
Yeah, here he set himself up well here with the serve and then punched that backhand down the line. Here's his footwork. Look at that preparation. Good shoulder turn there, and good racket head acceleration.
40-30.
That's that new serve again. It's got him out of trouble a lot of times today. When he's been down in the games, he's hit some big first serves.
Do you think the quick delivery is making it hard for opposing players to pick up the ball?
I think so, yes.
Yet another element of Agassi's game that makes him unique.
Deuce.
Double fault. He's had a few, and we're back to deuce. They are level on serve in the second set.
First serve.
So a couple of points here in this game for Rafter. A service break could make it a huge moment for him.
Advantage Agassi.
Rafter in this game was, when he had the chances, he was praying for a couple of second serves from Agassi, but Agassi didn't give him any. Now he's got one.
Game Agassi.
A baseline rally of the kind Andre Agassi typically wins, and he holds serve to get level at 3 apiece. Agassi took the first set 6-1. They are 1 hour into the match. On center court, we're live on HBO. 5 full hours of live match coverage coming today on day 5 of the 107th Lawn Tennis Championships. You're watching the defending champion in the Wimbledon men's singles, seeded 8th this year.
With a lot of power on that backhand volley when he comes in. He really snaps it. And you can see here, look at that, right out in front. Look at that, good punch.
Thirty low. $30-15.
Another one from the too good category, right?
Yeah, look at this power. Straight down the line. Was not a bad second serve, but Agassi, look at this turn here. Racket acceleration, short swing, leans into the ball straight down the line.
So much torque and shoulder turn in the upper body. Nobody commits to the ground strokes like Andre.
He goes for every single ball.
And still to come, here on HBO Sports coverage of the Lawn Tennis Championships, #1 ranked and #1 seeded Pete Sampras against Byron Black of Zimbabwe and the University of Southern California.
What a get that was. Here's Rafter, hits a good serve, thinks, well, that's a pretty good serve. Goes straight across his body there with that forehand. Look at that.
Not just to get it, but to do something with it. Breakpoint opportunity, game 7, second set. Agassi already up 1 set.
The big opportunity there because he set the point up well and had a half-court forehand. Should have made that point. Rafter a little bit lucky to get away with that.
I thought Rafter's volley was beyond the baseline. I thought Andre had won the point. I think Andre might have thought so for a half second himself.
Advantage Rafter.
Well, that's going to your bread and butter when you're in trouble.
He's a very fine volleyer. Nice short backswing on his, punches them out in front.
Was Carmichael a good volleyer?
Very good. That was his speciality, that and the drop shot.
Game Rafter.
So Patrick Rafter rescues himself from break point with 3 consecutive well-played points. And we continue to follow the fortunes of Andre Agassi in his attempt to defend the Wimbledon championship he so unexpectedly won a year ago. If you were with us yesterday afternoon, you watched Goran Ivanisevic's dramatic 5-set come-from-behind win over Chris Bailey of Great Britain here on center court. And it might have reminded you that a year ago, in the final of these championships, Andre Agassi prevailed over Ivanisevic in a similarly thrilling and extended 5-set center court match. Line judge is changing now. And a little breather for the crowd, and we take a look at an overall statistical analysis of the match so far, and John Lloyd Rafter still not getting in enough of his first serves.
No, that's way too low. He needs to be up at about 70% to have any chance at all here. And look at the unforced errors there in the third column. 21 unforced errors in comparison to Andre Agassi's 16. Andre Agassi has 27 winners in comparison to 20.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
20 winners for Rafter, not bad at this point in the match.
No, that's okay. He really needs the first serve percentage to go up to at least 70%. He is, after all, playing against probably the best returner server in the world. And that's, you know, that's just too low a percentage. He has no chance at that level.
Englishmen and English women throughout the center court grandstand. Learning to live with the persistent sunshine that has bedeviled these championships all week.
Yeah. We all complain about the weather in England, then we get the sun, and we put as many clothes on as we can to avoid it.
Well, you are a contrary breed, aren't you?
30 long.
That's good grass court play there. Takes advantage of the short second serve. Very good approach here, very deep. Look at that volley stretch. Perfect balance, good punch into the open court.
(40-15).
Once again, that point set up by the good first serve from Agassi. (29 winners in comparison with Rafter's 21 there. Pretty good from Agassi.
(40-30). Deuce.
Very short second serve there. Rafter really went for that and came straight in behind it.
Advantage Agassi.
In comes Rafter here. Good approach shot. Look at that depth. Agassi hits the ball there.
And you look at backcourt points won, reflecting Agassi's absolute dominance from the baseline.
And that's an incredible stat.
I think we may have found the critical statistic in the match there.
Game Agassi.
So Andre holds serve again. And we are level at 5-5 in the second. Andre Agassi, a first set winner, 6-1.
If Agassi can come through this match, it'll actually be a good preparation for his match against Krajicek. Even though Krajicek serves obviously a lot harder than Rafter, he'll be constantly coming into the net as well. So this is good match preparation, because there's a lot of pressure being put on Agassi here. He's coming into the net all the time, Patrick Rafter.
Of course, Rafter is a player who hadn't won a match this year before qualifying for Wimbledon. Ranks about 178th in the world. And Krajicek
Low 15.
is one of the world's dozen or so best.
15 all.
Big opportunity missed there from Rafter. Easy forehand volley.
All.
Here, a potential big moment for Rafter. Well, that was clutch.
It was a heck of a time to serve the first serve ace.
Little display of competitive spirit from the 20-year-old Wimbledon rookie, playing in only his second Grand Slam championship, also played at the Australian Open.
Game Rafter.
And a disgusted Agassi watches Rafter hold serve to get to 6-5.
16-5,
Andre must
set.
now serve to try to force the second set tiebreak.
Here's the point here. Agassi really should have done better with this one because it was not a very good volley. Set him up half court, hit it straight at him. Here's the ball he should have made. Prepared well, and then snatched at the ball. He'd lost his... What a point that was. Patrick Rafter made the mistake here a couple of times. He should have been into the net on a couple of earlier balls. Once the rally got longer there, Agassi just penetrated nice and deep here, got him out of position with that big forehand. There's his footwork there, sets up, turns sideways, boom, into the open court there. It's where Rafter has got to gamble here.
Agassi missing down the line. So Rafter is alive at 15 all. 12th game, second set. Care to take a quick stab, John, at why it is that English people seem to be so much more in love with Agassi than fans in his native United States?
Well, I think one of the main reasons is we haven't seen him here. We've only seen him here a couple of times, and it was such a big event when he finally came that the people loved him.
30-15.
And, of course, the fact that he looks like Iggy Pop.
Well, that certainly helps.
Here in the birthplace of the British invasion of rock and roll, Andre looks almost traditional. And then, of course, there's the fact that they see him as a rebel against convention. They loved McEnroe, too.
30 all.
A rare unforced error in a situation like that.
Yeah, Rafter was lucky there. He got away with that. Again, he's staying back a little bit too much in this game.
And for the second consecutive game at 30 all, you observe that this juncture represents a big moment for Patrick Rafter.
I'd like to see him chip and charge on this shot here.
Andre misses the lob. Rafter has set point.
Pressure paid off.
30-40.
He didn't chip and charge. He whacked it and went ahead anyway.
Yeah,
That was gutty.
very good.
Quiet, please. Thank you. Deuce.
That was a little bit of a gag there.
Oh, a choke, you mean? Meaning he's holding the racket a little bit farther up the grip?
Yeah.
No. Still not out of it. Deuce, plenty of opportunity if he can play this point well.
Advantage Agassi.
Oh, he went for it, but didn't hit a very good shot here. Maybe he's realizing that he was 1 point away there from winning the second set against the Wimbledon champion.
Game Agassi.
And now they go to the second set tiebreak. So Andre Agassi fights off. Set point.
Tiebreak.
A service break point against Patrick Rafter and gets to 6-6.
Rafter to serve.
Rafter will begin to serve in the tiebreak. He serves once, then Agassi twice, and so forth. 12-point tiebreak format. First man to 7 or more with a margin of 2 wins the set.
Look at that stat there. Andre Agassi, 13 of 15. That's a very high percentage, but he needs to come into the net more than that.
1-0 Agassi.
Well, look ahead to the potential next match against the Dutchman, Krajcek. A big serve and volley player. If you were Nick Bollettieri and you know the numbers from this match against Rafter, would you say, Andre, go to the net more in this match?
Absolutely. I think he's got to try and do that. Take a little bit of pressure on him, off himself. Go at Richard Krajcek, serve volley a little bit more and surprise him.
But he won the tournament last year doing this.
Agassi.
Rafter has gotten down on himself since having blown that set point.
Yeah, now he's thinking about it. This is a little bit of inexperience showing here. He's letting that point that he lost on the set point, it's getting to him, and he's got to get rid of that. Now he can still win this tiebreaker.
Agassi.
Agassi has played 9 previous tiebreaks at Wimbledon and has won 6 of them. His last tiebreak on center court was against Ivanisevic in the final last year, and Ivanisevic took it.
Good movement there to get back to this overhead.
3-1 Agassi.
Here comes good volley. A little bit lucky with the let cord there. Gets back very well. Smashes into the open court. Oh. Lunge there, but didn't do enough of that volley. Just pokes the ball over. Look at that fist there, clenching there. He knows he played a hell of a point there.
So the confidence builder now for Rafter as he comes from down 3-love to get back to 2-3. But Agassi is still up a mini break.
This is one of those points where he did everything right, Rafter.
4-2.
Very
Agassi.
good volley. A little bit of luck there with the net call, but it was going to be a winner anyway. Here comes the preparation there. Good shoulder turn out in front. Look at the way he accelerates through with the racket head there.
They change ends. Do you think that Andre is getting close to a violation of the all-white clothing restriction, John? There's a lot of blue there.
Yeah. I think it looks fine, but there's probably a few of the members here. Good point there. We have a lot of stuffy all-in the members here that they probably don't like that at all.
4-3. Agassi.
But then again, they wouldn't like Rafter's shirt either because it's not all white.
Good point. Wimbledon has never had a hair restriction. I guess Guillermo Vilas would have been the first to taste the wrath of the committee if there had been one.
4-all.
Clutch ace for Rafter. 4-all. Even on serve.
Crunch time now. He needs a big first serve here.
5-4.
Perfectly played, and Rafter gathers himself to get back into the second set.
Nice forehand there, but he set that up with a very fine first serve. Good power, good direction.
Well, he went through about 5 points of malaise after having blown the set point on Agassi's serve, but now he's well into the tiebreaker.
5-all.
I think he's going to come in on this one.
Tremendous break for Rafter. And now it is set point again for Patrick Rafter. And you get the feeling, if he could convert a set point here, John Lloyd, and take a set from Andre Agassi on center court, then the long overnight trip all the way from Australia will have been well worth it for his mother and his sister.
She'll be certainly delighted. It's got a lot of aunties and uncles here too.
And he does it. 20-year-old Patrick Rafter gets even with Andre Agassi. One set apiece on center court. Go back to center court. Break point for Andre Agassi against Patrick Rafter in the second game of the third set. Agassi perhaps inwardly enraged after having dropped the tiebreaker at the end of the second set. They're level at 1 apiece.
Game Agassi.
Oh, that was lucky.
Incredible. I mean, that was really a stroke of luck for Andre.
Complete miss it there. Goes up in the air and lands basically right on the line. Well, that's the sort of luck you need sometimes, I suppose, but
So we bring you back just in time to see the service break for Agassi in the second game of the third set. And now Andre with an advantage in the third. Net points won.
18 of 20 for Agassi. That's very good.
And you still want him to go to net even more based on that success rate, which is 90%.
Yeah, I think it would just make his life a little bit easier.
Andre checking to see if his opponent is all right. Rafter wondering where the soles of his shoes went.
Here he comes chipping and charging. It's his tactic. Good topspin lob there. Tries to go back, stumbles, and
If I were going to play devil's advocate with you about this notion that Andre should change his game to adapt it even more to the grass surface, which I would never do, but if I were going to do that, I would point out to you that Boris Becker has for years tried to change his game on clay and has never won a clay court tournament. Whereas Agassi confounded the skeptics by winning Wimbledon playing his way last year.
That's true. Here he comes on this short ball here. Whips that forehand. It's the easy setup. Puts it into the open court. Good balance here. Just sort of dunks it down.
40-15.
Well, he certainly hasn't lost any power with his new service motion, that's for sure. Maybe just a little bit of rhythm.
As startling as it looked on Monday, I think in some ways it may be helping him.
What's that?
It's yet another new look. And there are many elements of Andre's game which provide the opponent with a new look.
Game Agassi.
Look at that.
Yeah. Big serving.
So Andre Agassi steps a little sharper in the early games of set number 3 after having dropped the second. Agassi took the first 6-1 in a walk with a couple of service breaks. Rafter wins the second set tiebreak, and now Agassi is up 3-love with a service break in hand in the third. Serve game comparison, John Lloyd.
Yeah, well, Rafter has 63% first serve points won off his first serve. That's too low. Andre Agassi, 81%. There's the difference there. Second serve points, 53 and 46. That's pretty even. Service game's lost 3 breaks of serve for Patrick Rafter. Agassi has not lost his serve.
And as we bring you back on this changeover, it is my sad duty to inform you during our live coverage of Wimbledon that while we were away during the earlier changeover, you missed the Andre Agassi shirt change, and therefore missed a chance to see live the shaved or otherwise hairless chest, which has created so much stir in the tabloids here. Andre isn't revealing, incidentally, his method for removing the hair from his chest, whether it is shaving or some other depilatory technique.
There's Nick Bollettieri there in the glasses, trying to pump him up there. I saw him saying, come on, you've got to get this.
The relatively hairy-chested Nick Bollettieri, although you couldn't see it there.
Love 15. Love 30.
This can sometimes happen when you're a relatively inexperienced player like Rafter. You come in the match, you take the second set off a Wimbledon champion, and deep down psychologically you're saying to yourself, well, you know what, I've done pretty well here. And then the nervous energy goes down and you get broken. Another string broken there.
Second broken string of the match for Rafter. How many rackets do you think he's got, John?
I would say he's got about 8 rackets out there.
What's the most you ever went through in a match?
I broke about 3 on clay, but I didn't break too many rackets because I didn't hit too much spin. I wasn't a big topspin player. They're the players that tend to break a lot of strings.
Would that make Borg the all-time string breaker of the sport?
Oh, he goes through more rackets. It's unbelievable. You're just in practice with him and he'll break 6 or 7 rackets. Mind you, he strings the rackets at about 87 pounds, which is
unheard of.
Yeah, mind-boggling.
Triple break point. Rafter going off the diving board here in set 3.
15-14.
He rescues that one. Andre Agassi has a habit throughout his career, you could track it statistically, of winning sets 6-love immediately after having lost a set to a lower-ranked or lesser-known player. It's a statement he likes to make.
Game Agassi.
And he's on his way to a potential love set here, as Andre goes to 4-love in the third.
The love third set.
Take a look at winners.
43 winners to Rafter's 28 there. I mean, that's a pretty obvious statistic here, as you can see how many more shots, particularly from the baseline, he's been winning.
We talked about racket stringing, Borg stringing his racket into the 80s. John McEnroe down in the 50s somewhere because he wanted the feel to caress the ball around the net. What would be the average?
I would say the average would be about 60, 62 pounds, something like that.
15.
And Agassi?
I think Agassi would be around that 60 mark.
So few, if any, players have ever tried to be as extreme as Borg.
No, that's unheard of.
30-15.
Well, if Borg was so successful for so long, 6 straight French Open championships, 5 straight Wimbledons, why didn't other players try it?
Well, I think if they tried, with the strings that tight, most people would have arm problems. Getting on a roll now, Agassi. He's looking very confident again. Little slice back in there from Rafter. Good preparation. Look how low that ball was, and he still managed to get it up over the highest part of the net for a clean winner. Very fine shot.
Game Agassi.
Typical effortless display of ground stroke brilliance by Andre Agassi in that game. He goes to 5-love in the third. And he takes that point to go up 3-love. So Andre Agassi, after having dropped the tiebreak at the end of the second set, has now reeled off 9 straight games to dominate Pat Rafter on center court. They've played 2 hours and 7 minutes, and Agassi appears headed for the easy victory we anticipated in this round, which would take him forward toward the anticipated matchup with 9th-seeded Richard Krajicek. And we told you earlier that you had missed the Agassi shirt change during an earlier changeover, and now our producers have put it together on tape for you. We're not going to let you miss something as important as this. There's the hairless chest. You hear the whistles from the center court crowd. Much excitement being generated by this. Andre, of course, as you know, John, simply wanted to be more aerodynamic on the court.
Yeah.
His middle isn't quite so aerodynamic as it may have been in the past, but his skin is sleek. Of course, nothing that Andre does to become a heartthrob can ever match the enormous magnetic appeal of this man, described by at least one periodical here as England's last center court sex symbol. And when John Lloyd, when you looked like that, who possibly could even have begun to argue the point?
Well, at least I had some hair in those days, but...
Where?
On top of my head.
You certainly weren't as aerodynamic as Andre. Did you ever try this look of having the hat with the long hair sort of sequestered into the center opening there and coming out in one long ponytail?
Well, no.
It wasn't current in your day and age.
No one used to wear hats in my day. Now every player seems to.
Fru McMillan wore hats.
That's one example. That's right.
Shlomo Glickstein, did he wear a hat every once in a while?
Now and again. That's right.
See, there are exceptions that prove every rule, aren't there?
Yeah.
Patrick Rafter's wearing a hat. England's last center court sex symbol. There are a lot of identities you'll carry with you for the rest of your life, John, but that surely is the best.
I'm not so sure about that picture. I think I might have to throw that one away.
40 long.
I am afraid that it is now indelibly etched into the tape archives of home box office. And there's nothing you can do about it. Lest you want to fork over huge sums of English pounds in bribery. And I can help you with that.
Game Rafter.
So Rafter breaks the 9-game drought and celebrates with a victory lap and a hand from the audience. A little bit of a Michael Chang bounce there for Patrick Rafter.
Yeah, he needed to do something there. 9 games in a row. He was going downhill fast.
$15 long.
We remind you, in case you haven't been with us earlier, Agassi's opponent on center court, Patrick Rafter. 20-year-old qualifier from Australia who ranks 178th in the world. So far in the tournament, Agassi has played Bernd Karbacher of Germany, Yayo Cunha Silva of Portugal, and now Rafter.
40 long.
Not exactly a murderer's row of early round opponents.
No, he's had an incredibly good draw. And he needed one, to be quite honest. I think he needed the first couple of easy rounds to get him to play here, because
Game
he
Agassi.
did not come into this tournament well prepared, that's for sure.
But right now he's well prepared to go ahead and put away Patrick Rafter in a short period of time. Talked about the easy draw for Andre Agassi so far. But there is a buzz around the All England Club this morning about the quarter of the draw that now faces Stefan Edberg, if Edberg wants to win a 3rd Wimbledon championship. The 8 players in his quarter of the draw include Arnaud Buch, Wally Masur, Kent Carlson, Cedric Pioline, Richard Matuszewski, Javier Frana, and Chris Wilkinson. And I repeat, not exactly a murderer's row.
No, he's got the best draw in the tournament, and he can get to the semi-finals without, well, he will get to semi-finals without playing another seed if he makes it that far. That's a great draw for him.
So a good piece of fortune for Edberg. The only thing that could have made it even better is if Chris Bailey had knocked Goran Ivanisevic out of Edberg's half of the draw last night and eliminated the chance that Edberg would face the Croatian nightmare in the semifinal.
I'm sure Edberg was hoping that Chris Bailey was going to win.
John McEnroe told me last night, John Lloyd, that because of the absurdly illogical style of his game, Ivanisevic's game, he believes the other top players fear Ivanisevic more, worry more about playing him than any other potential opponent?
Well, yes, because they don't know what he's going to do. He's so unpredictable. I mean, the first two examples in the first two matches, serving aces and on match point against him on his second serve, and no one else would have gone for that. No one in their right mind, anyway.
15 all.
I asked John, I said, does that mean that Ivanisevic is the toughest opponent? He said, no, not necessarily. Just the one against which you feel least in control of your destiny. Now we'll leave the rest of McEnroe's good material for NBC this weekend. Professional courtesy. A much sprightlier step now for Rafter, as he at least mentally gets back into playing the match.
Yeah, he went walkabout there for about a set or so, and you can't do that when you play someone of Andre Agassi's class.
Game Rafter.
Solid service game for Rafter. Did the word walkabout exist in tennis usage prior to Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley, or was it coined to describe her habits?
Precisely right. Yvonne Goolagong, that's where that comment came from, and because she was the classic in that respect. She would go through matches and be up a set and a break, and then for 4 games play like she was a qualifier.
Well, that's a rarity.
Beating from the backcourt, Patrick Rafter. Good effort.
Love 15.
And another tiny memory for Rafter to press between the pages of his Wimbledon experience this year.
Good point. Another point won from the net from Andre Agassi.
15 all.
I would like to see him serve volley now and again, just to keep the other guy honest.
$30-50.
Do you suppose his coach, Nick Bollettieri, asks him to serve and volley more? Or do you suppose he lets him do what he wants?
I don't think you can really tell Andre Agassi how to play anymore. To be quite honest, I think he just goes out there and plays the way he wants to play.
Too bad. He hit such a great forehand down the line.
40-50.
Yeah, he set up well here, followed in the net beautifully. Didn't have to make it so good. Agassi was way off the court there.
Game Agassi.
So Agassi drops the first point to go down love 15, but comes back to easily hold.
Agassi leads.
And now Andre is within one game of moving on into the fourth round of the tournament. And let's take a look at a directional graphic that shows you the choices that Andre Agassi has been making, John Lloyd, on backhand winners.
Yeah, he goes here 9 out to the forehand, 3 cross court, one backhand straight down the middle. That's his favorite shot, that one, down the line. He likes to go cross court, set up the point, and then bang to the open court in the forehand.
And as a two-handed backhand hitter, with the slightly different technique, is he able to move his opponent around and wait just a little bit more on the ball than a one-handed backhander would?
Yeah, he can hold it a little bit longer. It's a big edge on the grass court. He has that little bit extra time, and then he can push that ball down the line.
So that sometimes the opposing player is forced to overcommit.
Precisely.
Time.
In case you've joined us late, we'll once again tell you that the London tabloid newspapers are reporting that Andre Agassi's presumed significant other, actress and singer Barbara Streisand, and film producer, I should say as well, is using Andre's private jet at the moment, is in Greece, is expected to return to London if he continues to win in the tournament, and is rumored, according to the London tabloids, not to be fond of excessive bodily hair on men. Thus, Andre's preference for the aerodynamic look he has affected this week. You can get that for 35p in the Express or the Daily Mail or any of about a half dozen other very respectable publications here.
Love 15.
Well, Agassi's been pretty impressive today. I think he's done everything well, served pretty well. Returns of serve have been a lot sharper today, and he's won a lot more points from the net. Not that one. It's a good point here. Rafter gets down very, very low for that one, pokes it up, volleys into the open court there.
You watch Patrick Rafter, and it's hard to imagine how he could get a whole lot better than this, John. He seems to be getting a good deal out of his basic talent for the moment.
Well, as I said earlier, he's very highly thought of from the Australian Tennis Federation, and he's a good all-round player, but as I said before, he doesn't really have one big weapon. And that's what you have to have that in the men's game today. Andre Agassi has two. He has the best return of serve in the game, and as we've seen with the stats, he has a very big serve as well.
Game Rafter. New balls, please.
Agassi didn't like the
Agassi
call,
leads
but
5 games to 3, 4
it seems a small issue to him at this point. Let's take another look.
And gets him down nice and low here. Should really have made this. Yeah, just out.
So Rafter holds to get to 5-3, and now Agassi will serve for the match. See if he tries to rip a few big ones on the first serve here. Put a little punctuation mark on this particular center court performance.
Well, so far, you'd have to give him some very high marks out of 10 for his performance today in all departments.
New balls.
$15 love. 30 long.
Well, there's a lot of kicking and pirouetting going on out there now. This little tennis dance proceeds toward its climax.
Long.
Triple match point now for Andre Agassi. Looking to close out his third round match in defense of his Wimbledon championship.
Game, set, match, Agassi. 3 sets to 1, 6-1, 6-7, 6 love, 6-3.
So after having dropped the second set tiebreak and given Patrick Rafter, 20 years old, a lifetime memory of center court at Wimbledon, Andre Agassi walked through sets 3 and 4 and has a third consecutive easy victory in the All-England Lawn Tennis Championship. Came to the tournament reportedly as many as 15 pounds overweight, still nursing a supposed sprained wrist, rumored to have other arm injuries as well, but has played increasingly well. And so far seems to be showing no ill effects. And now Andre plays to his adoring center court crowd. Andre's very friendly with other players. He'll be gracious to Rafter as they leave the court. And John, I think he looks better and better.
Yeah, he played very well today. I must say he was very impressive. Returned to serve the best he's done all tournament. And I thought he served very well. He was sharp in all compartments, I must say.
It's almost like qualifying for Andre. He's gotten what amounts to a 3-match warm-up in the main draw of the tournament, with his matches against Carbacher and Cunha Silva, and now against Patrick Rafter. But as you look at the draw, you see that the free ride may well be over. In the next round, in all probability, a match with the Dutchman Richard Krajicek. It will be a fantastic battle between Agassi's return of serve and Krajicek's booming first serve. The possibility in the quarterfinal of a match with fellow